Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and yours. I am your host, Mike Shriver with Mike Shriver Ministries, and we're back and we're here to listen to John F. Kennedy, and we are ready. I rewound it a little bit because we need to know what's going on. So you can hear me now. It's about 30 seconds delay. So you should be able to hear me now. Let me just double check. I'll double test it. Start recording. This is a test of the Mike Shriver Ministries broadcast system. If this was an actual emergency, this broadcast would be followed by spiritual instructions on how to get your soul right with God before you kick the bucket. This is only a test. All right. I hit stop on that. Let's go to video. I should have double checked before I even started, but I'm the dummy who didn't put his headset down. Man, this is a test of the Mike Shriver Ministries broadcast system. If this was an fever's coming back, but I'm in a half hour. I got to go get some ibuprofen. All righty, then let's punch it, Chewy. Chewy.
Understand how that is possible. In fact, our whole rule about the majority leader having control of the floor, whoever the majority leader is centered around the proposition that at any time the majority leader can assert his right, it's a custom, not a law, can assert his right to control this floor. And that shuts down my recognition, but he's got to get recognition. He just can't come in here and say, stop talking, I'm the majority leader. And I don't understand how a senator can object. I don't understand how a senator can do anything in this body without achieving recognition.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, I'm no expert on the Senate rules like the president is and the parliamentarian is, but, you know, you don't have to be an astrophysicist to understand that's one of our bedrock rules.
Will my colleague yield for
yes, Senator.
I would ask my colleague if you would consider resubmitting your request again as a motion to reconsider.
Well, I will do that, but I don't want to be unfair to my Democratic colleagues. I don't believe in surprising
Such a good
people.
man. Hello, Bud Russell. Good to see you again, buddy. How you been
Senator Schatz
doing?
told me, we had a conversation last night, said he was going to object. I respect that. And if he has left the building, I don't want to go behind his back. So I don't want to do that unless you can communicate with him. Is he still here?
Drag his butt back in.
Mr. President, do we know if Senator Schatz is still here? Because I would like to urge reconsideration, but I don't want to blindside him.
I don't think he's blindsiding him. The guy walked out.
Who should I ask that to? Tuck? Tuck says, don't bring me into this. Gary? I mean, I would like to urge reconsideration, but I'm not going to do it in blindside Brian.
All right. It'd be interesting to see how they figure this out.
Can I bring it back later?
Hey, Angela, is there any way you could explain what the parliamentarian does?
Could I get a ruling on that?
I mean, just summarize what they do.
That we contact Senator Schatz and tell him I'm thinking about reconsidering, but I don't want to blindside him?
Well, I think everybody knows you're not
President?
going to. I think he's doing this on purpose, though.
It's not an appropriate parliamentary inquiry.
What if I made a motion?
Where did it go? How do you misplace a hope? There it is.
Could I move that we contact Senator Schatz and tell him I'd like to move to reconsider, but I don't want to blindside him?
He's probably out with his mistress right now.
There is no such motion.
I just made it up.
Can he just make it up, or is he being
You're
sarcastic?
telling me I can't do that under the rules?
Bud Russell, yeah. I had my first
Why not?
grandchildren
I
this year.
don't get it.
Well, the first one, 2025.
I mean,
And then I had
I could
another
move
one.
to reconsider and blindside him, but
She's
I
a
don't want to
liberal
do
that
that.
makes up rules as
So
she
why
goes.
can't I move to reconsider subject to us waiting for Brian to get back so he has a full opportunity to be heard? Can I do that?
There's no such motion.
Wouldn't he forfeit
Sure
his
there is. I
ability
just
to
made
speak?
it. Are you saying that the motion's out of order? Look, this is a serious matter now.
Yes, it would take unanimous consent.
This is a serious matter.
It's going to make that guy look bad in the midterms.
Now, we've established that this resolution doesn't affect the House. It just says to the senators, while we're in a shutdown, no senator is going to be paid. You don't lose your money. You pick it up after it's over, after the shutdown's lifted.
Hey, welcome
We've
back,
established the fact, Mr.
Grizzlies
President.
up in the house.
That this went through the Rules Committee unanimously.
I rewound this quite
Did
a
I
way.
mention it went through unanimously?
Right up where you left off.
That every single Democrat and every single Republican said, yes, Kennedy, let's do this. Mr. President, we've established that even though there are varying degrees of wealth among members of the
They're
Senate,
living rough.
and I say that's great. Every single senator makes at least $170,000 here. They're not going to lose a penny.
Nope.
Not one single solitary penny. Once the shutdown is over, they get their money. We've established that. We've established that there are
Grizzly Kennedy is doing a good
260,000,
thing.
not 2,600, not 26,000, 260,000 of our colleagues working in the Department of Health and hospitals that are not being paid. And a lot of these people do not have immense wealth.
And the Democrats don't care. They just don't care about anyone but themselves.
But they're not being paid because of our conduct. And I think we've established that this is a chance to show in a little bitty way, a minor way, a baby step, that we're going to share their sacrifice.
Welcome in, Ivan Martin. Good to have you, Ivan O. Martin. How's your day going, man?
And there's been an objection. I heard that ruling from the chair. But for the life of me, I don't know how you can object without seeking recognition, without having recognition. I've never heard that one.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Grizzly.
We're getting into the foothills
awesome.
of
He's
La
so
La
awesome.
Land here as far as I'm concerned. Now, I just made a motion.
The
I want
foothills
to bring
of
this
La La
bill
Land.
to be reconsidered. And all I'm asking, I don't want to blindside my friend Senator Schatz. I don't play that way.
Yeah,
I want to give him full opportunity.
Kennedy don't play that.
All I'm asking is that somebody call Senator Schatz and let him know that I'm going to move to reconsider,
Stop
and I
being
don't
in my
want to do
chat
it
room.
behind his
Get out.
back. That's all I'm asking.
Always worshiping Trump, you idiots.
So I'll make that motion.
Some people's children.
Is there an objection? Well, there you go, my good friend. This senator didn't have recognition either. How is that possible?
Yeah, because they're
All
supposed
right, I'm
to say
coming back,
so-and-so,
Mr. President.
recognizes the
And
chair.
I'm coming back, and I'm coming back, and I'm coming back.
Hey,
Did I mention
repetition's the
I'll
best
be back?
teacher. Repetition's the best teacher. I've been saying that ever since I started my channel. And so is Kennedy.
And if a member of this body disagrees with what I'm doing, then by God, they ought to come down here and stand up in front of the United States Senate and
Yes.
stand up in front of the American people and stand up in front of God and stand up in front of country and stand up in front of all these people, these good people that aren't being paid, and say, here's why.
Yep. They don't care. The Democrats have gone off a deep end.
Maybe we need to change the Senate rules, Mr. President. I appreciate your patience.
And thank you for a great speech
And I'd
again,
like to
Mr.
ask,
Kennedy.
Mr. President, this probably is an improper motion too. I got to delve a little bit more in this improper motion stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see the rule
What?
that
What's
says
that?
I can't do what I just tried to do. And I want to see it bigger than Dallas. I don't want to see that it's implied or it's a penumbra. And I want to see the rule that says somebody can come on this body into this body without recognition and be heard. Because I don't believe it. And anybody who believes that, no disrespect, shouldn't be driving. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a parliamentary inquiry. Again, this is just somebody who's not been here a long time. I just want a clarification, parliamentary inquiry. In order to speak before the United States Senate, my understanding is that a senator has to yield the floor or complete his speech. Another senator, in order to speak, has to seek recognition from the chair in order to speak. Is that correct or not?
To gain recognition to the
Oh,
floor
okay. I see.
or
Angela.
hold the floor, that senator needs to be
She's in a
recognized
whole lot of trouble.
by the chair
Been
in
there
his or
since,
her
what, 14
own right.
years now? Probably going to be a lifetime appointee.
The senator who has the floor does not lose the floor
I don't know.
when he or she
Angela,
asks
do you think-
unanimous consent.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Any senator in the chair, including any senator in the chamber, including the senator in the chair, can object despite the fact they don't have control of the floor, and that the senator speaking at the podium who has been recognized continues to control the
Makes you
floor.
wonder how they don't know these
Thank you, Mr. President.
rules, but I guess if they never happen, if this is a precedent in American history,
Mr. President,
hope you still got more to say.
The senator from Wisconsin was first.
I note the absence of a quorum.
that the quorum is suspended.
There's a motion to suspend the quorum call. No, there's a motion.
I need to really study out the Senate rules and stuff so I know what's going
Is
on.
there objection?
Object.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks.
Who knows? Maybe I'll run for office someday in my district. My mom always said, Michael, how come you're not a politician? You need to start. I said, well, Mom, all hell breaks loose after Shates object.
I want to emphasize, Mr. President, that it is.
Okay, so this is basically the same thing, right? Yeah. Okay,
Of the
so
Senate and say, hey, hold my check.
Okay, so let's go over
until
to
this
Mike
government opens.
Lee.
Resolution
We got
saying is that
Mr.
all of
Mike
us should
Lee
do that, correct?
on deck.
Senator, I think you're right.
Our good
And,
faithful member
you know,
Angela, Child
you
of God,
started out
recommended
in
this
comments
Mike
of
Lee
saying, where
video,
are
and
we?
we're going to bring it. So let's bring it. All right, Mr. Mike Lee. I hear he's really good. I did see him the other night
Without objection.
scanning through stuff, but I never
Mr.
stopped
President.
and listened to him.
Moments ago, as we convened and we cast votes getting ready to move forward with the confirmation of our friend and colleague, the distinguished junior senator from Oklahoma, to serve as the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. It's important
We still
to
got to
reflect
watch
on
that
the
video
importance
with
of this
him, Angela.
Position and on
That's
the
your
importance
guy
of the department
from Oklahoma.
that he has been asked by the President of the United States to lead. This is a department that 25 years ago didn't exist. It was created, of course, in the aftermath of the horrific attacks on the United States homeland on September 11th, 2001.
Never forget 9/11, folks.
It
Never
includes
forget.
within
And never
it,
forget the Holocaust either.
among many other pieces, the apparatus that is used to control, as the name of the department implies, the homeland of the United States. Our ability to protect and defend our border, including our ability to protect and defend the border at the border and all the way in through the interior of the United States, through the enforcement of our immigration laws. This, of course, is one of the most fundamental and distinctively federal powers granted to the United States government by the Constitution. It is uniquely federal,
Carlo.
not only in that it's given to the U.S. government by the Constitution, but that it has to be federal. it would be impossible to do this without
Let's try
it being
something.
a federal power, because no one state could be charged with border enforcement. If you had only the border states doing it, it would be unfair to the border states. And the border states, of course, would end up having to make policy surrounding immigration,
At least we could see them a little
border
better
access,
this way.
and so forth, and that would impact the other states as well. That's why the Founding Fathers were wise to put all of this in the United States government. And so it bears mention here that the department that our friend and colleague, the distinguished junior senator from Oklahoma, has been asked to lead, the Department of Homeland Security, it's a pretty important one to have funded. It is indeed regrettable, to put it extremely mildly, that that department has now been shut down for well over a month. And this doesn't occur in a vacuum. This occurs just a few months after that department was shut down for a very lengthy period of time, starting in the fall, starting in October. This isn't fair to the brave men and women who place, in many instances, their own lives, their own comfort, their own safety on the line day after day after day to defend the United States homeland, to defend our border, to enforce our immigration laws, and perform so many other tasks that are essential to the security of the American people. And so when we evaluate that shutdown and its impact, we have to think about some of the other things that it also affects, including, of course, but not limited to, TSA, including FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Authority, including the Coast Guard, and including USCIS, CISA, and the entities within the Department of Homeland Security that operate the SAVE database. The SAVE database is this entity that is already set up, and it's related to the name of legislation we've been considering, the Save America Act. The SAVE database, of course, is what is set up within the Department of Homeland Security to help us ascertain the citizenship or lack thereof of persons who are already registered to vote in the United States. Ideally, the information should be freely flowing on a very regular basis between the states, in particular, secretaries of state, lieutenant governors, or whoever is the chief elections official in each state, to the Department of Homeland Security. They should be running their election data, their voter roll data, through the SAVE database on a very regular basis. Because by doing that, they can make sure that those who are registering to vote are, in fact, citizens of the United States. If you wait too long, the task becomes overwhelming or it becomes more difficult. But if it's done on a very regular basis, it can become routine and relatively straightforward. It's remarkable what can be done with these databases because, you know, we've got hundreds of millions of Americans, and we've got, I don't know what the total number of registered voters is. I'm guessing somewhere between 150 million and 200 million who have registered to vote. That's a lot of names, that's a lot of numbers, that is a lot of voter registration files in 50 different states and the District of Columbia. But having access to this database allows us in one central location the benefit of being able to scrub through these voter registration files in every jurisdiction in America to make sure that only citizens vote, and to do so without it having to take weeks or months or years in order to ascertain. So these are some of the many benefits of technology. But this, too, is part of the Department of Homeland Security, and this, too, is therefore affected by the shutdown, and in particular, the hardworking men and women who run that department, including that part of that department, are now not being paid, not receiving the funding that they need. And
yeah, that Kennedy video is excellent. Really
now,
nice.
Ideally, this would take place voluntarily, and the states uniformly would share the information, because why wouldn't they want to comply with the law? Why wouldn't they want to make sure that they're not facilitating, inadvertently or otherwise, violations of federal law, including provisions of federal criminal law that carry with them serious felony penalties? You would think that they would want to be cooperating freely and sharing their data. Some of the states do this. Many of them do. But a whole lot of them, including and especially those with Democrat governors and or Democrat legislatures, are adamantly, defiantly refusing to share that data. What does that tell us? Now, it's not as though this would involve an enormous amount of effort on the part of those states. It's not as though they can blame it on being short-staffed, not having adequate expertise to send over that data, because the work is done largely,
I appreciate
almost
all of you
entirely
being here tonight.
by federal officials.
You guys
on the
don't
other
have
end.
no clue how much you mean to me.
And every state does have
130 people
personnel
watching.
on
That's
hand
pretty good.
to manage and oversee the maintenance of these voter registration files. So one must ask the question, why would these blue states, a couple dozen of them, refuse so consistently, so defiantly to share that information? What is it that they gain from that? What is it that they would lose? I can't really think of anything legitimate that they would lose by sharing the data. This is a service being offered to them by the U.S. government. It's not like the U.S. government's going to charge them a bunch of money to do it. It's not like it's going to require their personnel to do it. So why wouldn't they want that? Well, before you answer that question in your own mind, let me feed you an additional data point that I think has some relevance here. In a handful of those states, I believe it's 3 or 4 states and the District of Columbia, at a minimum, have legalized non-citizen voting within their states within some local elections. Now, why they would want to do this, I do not understand. I fail to comprehend why that is a good idea. It seems like a terrible idea. But no federal statute prohibits it. Nothing in the U.S. Constitution prohibits it, insofar as we're talking about a state or a local office and a state or a local election for it.
So wait a minute. That being said, does that mean they have to make an amendment to the Constitution in order to prevent these illegals from voting? So if I heard him right, that's kind of what he's saying, right? Because they are allowed to do this in certain places where you can have non-citizens vote in our election. It don't make a lick of sense. Hi, Pastor Ben. Benjamin Kreitz is up in the house. Good to see you, Pastor. Good to see you. What's new, bro?
Or a state or local office. Federal law, neither the federal statutes nor the U.S. Constitution prohibits that from happening. So assuming state law allows it and their state constitution doesn't prohibit it, states are allowed to do this. But once they do it, it creates a problem. And it creates a strong inference, a strong presumption of an ongoing, much bigger problem. Because if you are one of those states that allows voters to register to vote and then cast votes
Thank you for that,
some
crazy old
local
soldier.
elections,
Appreciate
that means
you.
they have a voter registration file. Questions have been
Crazy old
asked
soldier,
by
level
federal
2.
authorities of the state elections officials.
We had a lot of
in
fun the
those
other night
states.
on our members only. Ben,
What
you were
is it that
missed.
you're doing?
All of you were missed.
Tell us the process by which you were able to secure a degree of confidence that those voter registration files belonging to non-citizens who are, by operation of state law, allowed to vote, notwithstanding their non-citizen status, in local elections. What is it that you're doing to make sure that those same people who have registered to vote don't show up on election day in November or on a primary election day earlier in the year to cast votes in connection with federal elections? And here I'm referring primarily, of course, to U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives elections. They've been asked that question, and they refuse to answer. Now, just think about that for a moment. That's pretty chilling. No matter how many non-citizen voter registration files might be found in those states, one can imagine a scenario in which it could and would make the difference. We can all think of elections, including federal elections that many of us are familiar with, that have been decided sometimes on the basis of a few thousand votes, or a few hundred votes, or even a few dozen votes. It does happen. And you never know in advance when it's going to happen. It's like my late father, also a lawyer, used to say about appellate arguments. It's something that both he and I spent much of our careers as lawyers doing, handling appellate arguments before courts of appeals. And he would sometimes get asked the question, can the lawyer and the lawyer's argument at oral argument, because before any oral argument happens in the appellate litigation world in the United States, there's an extensive period of briefing. My wife Sharon likes to say a brief. A legal brief is oxymoronic. It's anything but brief. It certainly isn't brief to write. It's not brief to read, but you have several months of briefing. Then there is a distinct point in time where the lawyers come together. They show up at the same time, the same day, and the court hears oral argument as distinguished from the written argument in the briefing. And he used to get asked the question, does oral argument make a difference, or is it always decided on the briefs? And he would consistently say the same thing every time he was asked that answer. It makes a difference sometimes. You never know when it's going to make a difference, but because we know it makes a difference sometimes, you have to prepare for each argument as if the argument in that case would make all the difference. So too here. We don't know which races, whether for a state office, federal office, or otherwise, you don't know in which races the margin between fraudulently cast votes and legitimately cast votes might make a difference. So you have to prepare for each election.
Patty's
as
here.
If it would make
Patty, it's so good. We get to see you again.
Files. In this instance, we're not talking about the entire universe.
I think sometimes our children forget that they're the kids, we're the adults.
We're talking about the universe consisting of non-citizens. We know for a fact that this
number
number
take my chicken out for?
Nationwide is at least in the thousands. And we know that because there are a small handful of states, a growing number of states, that have cleaned up their voter registration files, often with the help of the SAVE database at the Department of Homeland Security. And on that basis alone, they have discovered thousands, somewhere between thousands and tens of thousands, of non-citizen voter registration files. So when we know that those are
I didn't know you were. I'm trying to catch up on it. I need my glasses on. I can't see nothing
and legislatures
when it comes to words.
That are willing to share this information with the Department of Homeland Security and willing to undertake an effort to make sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little better, but my Tylenol's starting to wear off.
Registered to vote in a
so
way
I'm going to stack
capable
with
of
ibuprofen because I got too much to do. I don't have time to be sick, you know? I have no time to be sick.
It really does matter that
I take this, doing this as a job that I love.
We know that if there are at least a few thousand to a few tens
I know,
of
I hate it,
thousands
man.
from the
Our
red
bodies
states,
do
how
get
many
sick
more
so
are there
easily, don't
from the
they?
blue
Especially in
states?
the spring.
I
in
can't
Michigan.
help but wonder whether there might be a close connection between
Get
the
all
blue
your
states
stuff done.
being unwilling to share their data and the number of likely non-citizen voter registration files they will have in their databases. Because after all, given how little effort it would take on behalf of those states in order to share that information with the SAVE database and the people at the Department of Justice and at the Department of Homeland Security who are looking for them, why else would they be so opposed to it? And so from that, one can
Now that's a good question,
instead
Mike.
of thousands to tens of thousands, could we be talking about tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands? And if that's how many there might be today, how many more could there be, given that we now have something north of 30 million non-citizens residing in the United States, including 10 to 15 million, maybe more, who came into the country illegally, unlawfully, just in 4 of the last 5 years alone, between 2021 and 2025, while during the era of the prolonged Biden border invasion. In other words, Mr. President, this could get worse. It could get much worse.
So to pass court review,
it
would require an amendment.
Very late voter registration requirements, including a number of blue states that have same-day voter registration. These numbers could spike very quickly.
Hey, Patty, you know how
we don't get to the bottom of this problem.
A smile in my face
very, very
and
soon.
A song in my heart. Thank you so much.
Why I think there is such an interesting connection between the three things that we're talking about right now. We have been talking for the last few
I
days.
love
and
you
we'll
guys.
continue, I hope, for
Oh, let me make an
weeks or as long
announcement.
as it takes to get it.
I want to make an announcement ahead of time. So I'm going to take a second. Angela, child of God, is going to be a guest on Mike Trevor Ministries sometime with after Easter, sometime after Easter. And so it's fantastic. No, she's willing to come on. I want to interview Patty. I want to interview Jeff DePew. I've already interviewed Pastor Benjamin Kreitz, and now he's like a co-host. I want all of you guys to be interviewed if you want to. I want your names. Let me know who wants to have the courage to sit up in the big chair and discuss politics, discuss the Bible, discuss the weather, discuss whatever you want to discuss. It's ethical and clean, which it would be because I don't allow any garbage. And I know I got the best people in the world. They love God. They love their nation. They love their families. And it's America first. So if you're willing to go live with the short preacher from the backside of Michigan, that looks like the Crypt Keeper, I'd be more than happy to have you. We'll have fun. Used to being live. And then maybe all of you guys can branch off, start your own channels, work hard. I do. And then earn it and get your subscribers. And you never know where God could take you on your channel, whether it be the Bible, whether it be a mix of politics and the Bible. You don't know where God can take you, and don't doubt yourself. Trust in Him. You know, He told our good brother, Jeremiah, in Jeremiah chapter 1, Jeremiah said, hey, dude, you want me to be a prophet, but I'm like a kid. Now, it doesn't work like that. And God said to Jeremiah, He said, don't be afraid of their faces. He said, I will send you. God, will give you the words to speak to the people. Just open your mouth and it'll come out. Amen. Be encouraged. Don't be
Passed about
discouraged.
the Save America Act, but we're also simultaneously toggling between that and the confirmation of Mark Wayne Mullen to be the next DHS Secretary and legislation to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded, to fund it now that it has been defunded for well over a month. There is a parallel between all three of these things. In all three instances, our Democratic colleagues are dragging their heels. In all three instances, they're trying to stop something or
Okay,
a
you can
series
have
of
it.
things that could result in our ability to secure
She knows
our
I love
homeland,
her. I let her
to
take my
enforce
popcorn because
the
I'm getting
laws
ready to
governing
make
our
chicken
border,
anyway.
governing immigration and naturalization in this country, and ultimately safeguarding our elections.
You know what? We'll do that later.
These are not esoteric points. These are not hypothetical
Ow.
or hyperbolic points.
Yeah, turn
These
this
are
microphone
about real on-the-ground facts, facts that continue to come out every day, and I expect that even in the next few days, as we're debating the Save America Act, I will not be surprised if we get even more data points indicating that this is not a hypothetical problem, this is not a hyperbolic alarm bell that we are sounding. These are real things that have to be dealt with. So how then do our Democratic colleagues propose that we deal with this? Well, they're saying that they will stop at nothing to stop the Save America Act. And when you hear their arguments sound overwhelmingly. They sound out on the basis of facts that are not in evidence. Not only facts not in evidence, but facts contradicted by the legislative text itself. They have erected straw man after straw man from within the contrived.
Thank you for switching tiers. I appreciate that, man. I've seen that. Congratulations. Welcome to tier level 2.
Are not actually in the Save America Act at all. Meanwhile,
I appreciate it so much.
Provisions of the Save America Act.
Listen, if it wasn't for you guys, honestly, I would not have been able to get my struts and my spay bars fixed. I wouldn't have.
Under the Save America Act, and
now I got bent rotors
for establishing citizenship at the time of voter registration.
Because I thought it was the shocks that were bad. Find out it's the rotors.
In addition to the fact that they do not require anyone now registered to redo his or her registration. You don't have to worry about that. But the point I was getting to is second that It gives every American newly registering to vote under these new voter registration requirements of establishing citizenship. It allows them to establish that by attestation through a simple affidavit. If you are a natural-born citizen, you will provide one set of facts in your sworn statement. I was born in such and such a city. These were my parents. Here's the date when I was born. The basic essential facts that one would have to know in order to establish that you are a natural-born citizen. Or alternatively, if you're a naturalized citizen, you were born somewhere else, you're not a citizen as of the moment of your birth by virtue of the circumstances surrounding your birth, therefore not a natural-born citizen, but at some point you became a naturalized citizen. You would need to provide a different set of facts about where you were born, who your parents were, when you came to this country, under what mechanism, and through what process, and on what date you were made a citizen of the United States. You can do all this through a simple affidavit, even if you don't have any of the requirements, any of the more typical, more common documents that are required elsewhere, including when every citizen starts any job anywhere in the United States. As a U.S. citizen, you have to establish your citizenship.
You got to show
and you have
ID.
to do so with a set of documents that is much more rigid and far less flexible than what we allow for in the Save America Act.
Okay, so rotors would be cheaper for. Yeah, I got to get the
start a
pads
job, you gotta
too
fill out
because
the
they're
I-9
starting to
form.
go crazy on
I-9
me.
form requires you to provide either a U.S. passport,
I do plan on
citizenship, or alternatively,
Hey, this is really crazy, soldier. Because right here, I have
accompanied by
in
a
the
government-issued
typing
photo
spot,
ID
right, to
or
send a
Social
message to
Security
everybody.
card.
And here's what I have.
Now, for the most part, I don't know how they get around the truly difficult cases there, but it's always been my understanding that unless or until you can provide those specific documents under the I-9, you're out of luck. You're not starting that job until you can pony up with them. So you're going to have to track them down. You might have to spend a few dollars to get your birth certificate, or if you end up going through the additional steps of getting a passport. Many Americans have them, many don't. It costs a couple $100. So if you're not doing international travel, there's a good chance you don't have one and you don't necessarily want to shell out $200 to get one. But
Chrome Dome and the Crypt Keeper.
But we wanted the Save America Act to be more flexible.
That's who we are, crazy old soldier. Chrome Dome and the Crypt Keeper.
While also making it hard
episodes.
to cheat. So to that end, we allowed for this alternative method by which you can do a simple affidavit and you can submit it to the state authorities, shifting the burden to them. You're taking the load off of your shoulders, giving it to the state elections officials, who will then
Isn't that great,
have
Angela?
the obligation of confirming
I
or
came up with that on my
the
own.
accuracy of the information you gave them. Now,
Well,
if you lied to
yeah,
them,
I even
and
came
you
up
did
with
that
the
under
Chrome
a
Dome
sworn
part.
statement under penalty of perjury,
I said,
it could
oh,
be
you got a
anything
Chrome
else.
Dome under that hat
I
or
think
something
most
like
people
that.
will do it for that reason alone.
That rhymes.
But if you're telling the truth, they're
I had
also gonna figure
popcorn.
that
My
out.
daughter comes out, doesn't say a
And
word. Don't
given
even know
the
she's there.
databases
And she
of
grabs the whole
documents
bowl
that,
and walks away with it.
These state officials will
I
have
love her.
access
She's
to.
an angel.
It should be relatively straightforward for them.
Man,
to
my
either
head is starting to
confirm or
pound.
refute citizenship. So these arguments.
So keep praying
these
for me, Patty,
features
because this
of the
sickness ain't over
legislation
yet.
get ignored
However,
over
my
and over
leg
and over
is
again.
way
Instead,
better
we hear
today.
these parade of
I can
horrible
stand up
charges
and
that
not
this is-
scream. It's
You're going to have to
wonderful.
shell out $200 to get a passport, or you'll be unable to
Thank
vote.
you, Jesus.
False. That if you lost your birth certificate, you won't be able to vote. False.
Right.
That
You gotta
if
go buy
you
it.
are a
It's
married
not- it's
woman
10 or
who,
12
after
bucks.
getting married, took on your husband's name and you can't find your marriage certificate.
I like this guy. You're
that you
right,
won't be able to vote.
Angela. This guy's
False.
good.
That this will
Oh, hi.
somehow
Hi, kitty cat.
disenfranchise, render unable to vote 21 million currently
Say hi to the people at home.
registered
Say hello, people
voters
at
in
home.
America.
I'm beautiful.
That
Look
one
at
is
me.
completely false, and it gets repeated over and over again. There's not a scintilla of truth to that one. I understand at least where they get to the other ones, but this one is just
You my girl.
based on some survey done years ago, I believe by the Brennan Center, identifying that there are
She's a
about
good
21
cat.
million
She's
Americans
my best friend.
who are not sure where their documents are that would establish their citizenship.
Her name is
It does not
Eamon.
mean they would be disenfranchised.
No, her name is
And that,
Nymeria
again,
Eamon
completely
Targaryen
ignores this
Shriver.
provision in the text of the statute beginning on page 22 of line 12 of the Save America Act. So a picture is beginning to emerge. They don't want to fund the entire Department of Homeland Security. We're talking about somewhere between 230 and 260,000 hardworking, Americans who are not making a lot of money. They're paid for their services, but they're not getting rich off of this. Many of them, I would imagine, are living paycheck to paycheck. They've got people relying, mouths to feed at home, children,
$180,000, and you're struggling with something. You must be spending extravagantly.
And utility bills.
But you know, the more money you make, the more you're going to spend.
Because they're mad at the fact that the border is being enforced. They're mad at the fact that there have been some enforcement efforts in the interior of the country, some of which have resulted in tragedy. And those are all being investigated right now. Inquiries are going on to figure out what happened. But even before waiting for the final outcome of those investigations, they're wanting to shut it all down.
I'm going to set up a schedule, actually, channel schedule and all that.
For them to do their job. Meanwhile, they're standing behind the entrenched unwillingness, defiant opposition on the part of these blue states, dozens of them, who are refusing even to share the most basic information.
When you're not feeling good.
The most basic data from their voter.
One thing I learned when you're not feeling good, and if you're in leadership, no matter what you're doing, you don't want people to see how sick you really are, right? You got to be at work. You got to do your job. You got to take care of people. You got to take care of what's going on in the news. You got to bring the word of God. And you do your best to hide how you're feeling. And that's what I'm doing today, because you guys don't need to see me whining and complaining about how bad I feel. And I appreciate all of you. I do. I got the best. I mean it when I say it. I don't got a bunch of chumps on my channel. I got people that love God, that care about each other and other people. And that's what it's all about.
Registration files, such as would allow for the detection and removal of non-citizen voters who are currently able to cast votes, including in federal elections. They then move on to making an invented argument under the Constitution that this somehow violates principles of federalism, that it violates the 10th Amendment, that it's a federal overreach. That's absolute nonsense, as Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 gives us unambiguously the authority to set needful regulations concerning the conduct of state-run elections for federal offices. By the way, that same provision of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1, is the very same provision that was used and relied upon by Congress in 1993 when it passed the NVRA, the National Voter Registration Act, also known as the Motor Voter Law. And it's that same law, the NVRA, that was interpreted 2 decades later by the Supreme Court, wrongly but conclusively nonetheless, is prohibiting the states from doing any follow-up when somebody shows up to a DMV. The whole point of the NVRA is to allow someone to show up to a Department of Motor Vehicles office in their state, in any participating state, and that's nearly all of them that do participate. And you may, simply by applying for a driver's license, filling out the driver's license application, all you have to do on that driver's license application is check a box saying, yes, I'd like to register to vote. And then at the very bottom, sign your name, saying, yes, I want to register to vote, and I am entitled to vote. There is no legal impediment to me voting. I'm a U.S. citizen and not otherwise barred by law from voting. And that's it. No specific information is required. No specific information is even allowed. Per this Supreme Court precedent, wrongly interpreting the NVRA, you can't even ask them any additional questions to verify that. Why? Why are they so defiantly, adamantly opposed to funding the department that protects our homeland, that allows us to enforce our border and our immigration laws, and they're simultaneously adamantly opposed to legislation that would require people to go through the simple process of establishing who they are and that they are entitled to vote in U.S. elections? Why? When you marry up the absurdity and the invented form and the hyperbolic nature and ultimately the lack of foundation behind the arguments that they raise with what they're doing, this is alarming to say the least. It's damning, Mr. President. We are a nation of laws.
I'm so sorry, guys.
And we are a nation.
He's got about 2.5 minutes left.
Of laws if you don't enforce your border laws, if you don't enforce.
Preach it, brother. Preach that border right there. Stop, pitch a tent, and preach
who
it.
may cast a vote to decide your laws. We talk a lot of policy ideas around here. We make a lot of laws here. Some would say too many, and they might be right. But this one is different.
This one's going to depend on our nation. Depend on our
nation. You might say
nation's
it's a meta law or a proto law. It's upstream from so many others because we're talking here about a law.
It's a paradigm shift, which I need to preach that again. I need to put that in my notes. It's a paradigm shift.
Across this country are casting votes in federal elections, deciding who will represent them in the U.S. Senate and in the House of Representatives.
The Save America Act.
We want to
if
make
it
sure
fails, we're in trouble.
Those votes are kept in the family.
But it's in God's hands now.
Within the bounds of who is allowed to vote. Only American citizens are allowed to vote in those.
Let's see here.
Now, if that upsets the Democrats, they should say so. I haven't heard calls from any of them calling to repeal existing legislation that prohibits non-citizens from voting in federal elections. It would be interesting if they raised that. That would be an interesting debate. That would be at least a more honest discussion if they were to raise that, but they haven't. They have instead said we don't need the Save America Act because, and this one is a kicker.
No, we're good. No,
because it's already against the law. That, Mr. President, under these circumstances, is analogous to saying we don't need a law allowing police to issue citations and monitor traffic at intersections.
Exactly, Patty. Let's pray it's not falling on deaf ears.
It's against the law in our state to run a stop sign. And even
the filibuster?
Police officers under the status quo are
he's almost done.
From monitoring
we'll talk about that as soon as he's finished.
Taking note of when someone runs a stop sign, we know that people don't run stop signs because it's against the law.
Yeah, I'm going to actually cut it short here in a few minutes after we talk about the filibuster because I can't keep fighting this. I got to go get some ibuprofen and stack it with Tylenol.
Making our laws prohibiting non-citizen voting.
I don't take the good stuff anymore.
It's already against the law. And we take that defiant, illogical.
Do you think I'm hyper now? Oh my God. Believe me.
Knowing
I had a lot of energy when they had me on Vicodin.
To detect and therefore prosecute.
But I wasn't, I don't know, it was really weird.
Who breaks that law. Mr. President, we've got to clear both of these log jams. We've got to get Mark Wayne Mullen confirmed, and I was happy to cast my vote.
We're going to watch Mark Wayne Mullen when we go members only this week.
A man with a lot of energy, a lot of ideas.
I've been wanting to watch it. I've seen part of it, but yeah, I think it is the flu. I've got a fever. I'm starting to get phlegm in my lungs. That's nice and dark green.
The Department of Homeland Security to protect the
Not much, but some.
Not just by paying them.
Right now.
It's long overdue.
It's almost like bronchitis, but I have a fever. I don't think you get a fever with bronchitis.
In order to make sure that
turmeric will help the symptoms. Yeah, that turmeric is in. Okay, he's done. I don't want to say finally, but he kind of was long-winded. Reminds me of myself. Only on here, though. If I go preach in somebody's pulpit, it's 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not going to disrespect his pulpit.
Mr. President, I appreciate the passion.
Excuse you.
The remarks provided by my friend and colleague, the distinguished senator from Delaware. I do feel the need to respond to a couple of things and a couple of things that have said.
I like this Mike Lee guy, though.
Senator from Michigan.
Senator from Michigan, hopefully the Republican one. So the filibuster. Now, the filibuster is something we've had in government for like forever and a day. But the filibuster is one of the most annoying things on the Senate floor that happens that takes forever, and at least forever in 2 days to get through. Who was it? Cory Booker stood up, and 25 hours later, Cory Booker was done speaking. That's what a filibuster does. You get up and you speak, and you speak, and you speak about the bill until you wear people down, and they just give in and say, fine, gosh, dude, shut up. I want to go home. And turmeric, we find that in garlic, right? Well, I just cut up 2 full heads of garlic and 2 yellow onions. I'm going to add that to a chicken breast with bacon bits, with lemon pepper, and a little bit of brown sugar, and a little bit of lemon juice, real lemon juice. And, oh, it is so good to make you slap your mama. Oh, oh man, it's good. It's good, but don't go slap your mom, because then you're going to say, well, bless God, the preacher said go slap my mother because she can't cook like that. That's really what that saying means. My mentor, my pastor, used to say it to me all the time. He would say, Brother Schreiber, that was so good what you made, and make you slap your mama. I said, what? He was such a joker, man. A lot of Ricky Ward is in me, no doubt about it. We should have some of our mentor in us, but mostly the Holy Ghost. In fact, the Holy Ghost is really what's important. That's the best mentor you can ever have, is the Spirit of Jesus. Turmeric is a spice powder. Oh, okay. I thought that was, or is it alaric or alisic that's found in, what do you call it again? Garlic. Usually I'm pretty quick today, but not feeling good whatsoever. So what do you guys want? Do you guys want the filibuster to go away? Because if the filibuster goes away, everything is going to get passed through. Like everything the Republicans want, since they control the House and the Senate, it's going to go right through. Boom, boom, one thing after another. It's going to go right through. But there's a downside to nuking the filibuster. Because if the Democrats, as some of us refer them to, if they get back in power, they are going to wreak havoc in the Senate and House. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. Tallarico, is that the one senator from? Yes, yes. Christians do not agree with him. In fact, I'm going to be studying his entire life and everything I can find about him. In fact, Angela, I think it was you, Angela, sent me some information. I'm going to find out everything about him. I did find this out. He is against the 10 Commandments being put back in any school. He is against that. He does not want the 10 Commandments because he says separation of church and state. Last time I checked, the 10 Commandments used to be in classes. And the last time I checked, the 10 Commandments is religious education. Now, I get it, separation from church and state. But the, who was it? Was it the AO? Somebody stopped prayer in school. Then they took out the 10 Commandments. I know some states have taken the 10 Commandments back. Yeah, he's twisting the word. And believe me, I'm taking into what he has to say. I would love to debate him. Now, I'm just a small-time preacher from the backside of Michigan that looks like the crypt keeper. He ain't got time for me. But, oh, by the way, yours truly has reached out to Max Afterburner. Anybody know who Max Afterburner USA is? I know that Crazy Old Soldier does. Angela does. And so I just sent him another message. And I'm expecting to hear from him because I became one of his moderators. And then 3 days later, he decided to make his girlfriend the head moderator. And so he kind of said, okay, you and DJT are now backup moderators. I'm like, come on, dude, I like moderating, but it's his channel. And so I requested him. I talked to his producer. I'm hoping to hear back from him next time he goes live, probably tomorrow. I said, did your producer talk to you? Did Sarah, your better half, that's a woman, I said, did she speak to you? And I'm waiting to hear back from him. If we can get him on here, that would be fantastic. So Max Afterburner is a F-15 Eagle fighter pilot. He flew the F-15, I think, during Afghanistan and Iraq. So he is a combat pilot. So he knows his stuff. And I would love to get him on here and pick his brain about what he thinks about the war in Iran, the tactics, and maybe we can get into talking about the book of Revelation and Matthew, because that's what I see right now. We're Matthew chapter 24. And Jesus said there'll be wars and rumors of wars. There'll be earthquakes and diverse or different. I hate saying diverse because they ruin that word. The left ruined that word. But it's the Bible. So there'll be earthquakes in different places. Children will become more and more disobedient to their parents. The LGBTQ, A through Z, alphabet community will become more prevalent. Let me tell you something. One thing that I'm telling you, there's two or three things that kept Jesus from coming back during the Second World War. And I believe that the second trumpet very well may have been the Second World War. And the first trumpet of Revelation very well could have been the first trumpet. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to get up and grab that beeper. Ow, that was my hip. And so it's really interesting what's going on in our world right now. And just look how crazy our government's gotten. Look how nuts the House and the Senate Democrats have gotten. Listen, Republicans, they're not perfect. They're all politicians, right? You know the old saying. What is the old saying, Patty? You vote for the lesser of the two evils. Why? Because a lot of them, even on the Republican side, are secretly crooks. They just hide it better than the Democrats. See, a Tex Grizzly vet is working on his PhD in history, studied that ad nauseum. Oh, what part did you study? The government, how our government is? I love history. The Second World War and the American Civil War are my favorites. They're my favorites. The Revolutionary War is pretty cool. But what did General Lee said? And I am praying. I'm not kidding. I'm praying about this. Sounds weird, but I am. In Gettysburg, 1993, and Grizzly Vet would probably remember this from that movie if you love history like you do, and you do. Robert E. Lee said, "For a man to love," let's see, how did he say it? For a man to love the army. Hold on, I'll find it. Nobody else find it. I'm on it. I can't remember it right now because I'm not feeling good. I can quote it usually like boom. For a man to love the army. It's coming up. It's right here. To be a good soldier, you must love the army. To be a good soldier, you must love the army. To be a good commander, you must be willing to order the death of that thing you love. Again, if you love the army, did I get it wrong again? To be a good soldier, you must love the army. To be a good commander, you must be willing to order the death of that thing you love. I'm going to preach that one day. I just been waiting for the Lord to give me a message on it. So here in the chat, to be a good soldier. So to be a good soldier in Christ, you must love the church. That's part of it right there. That's good. To be a good soldier, you must love the army. See, we can look at this from a spiritual standpoint, church. I'm typing it out in the chat. To be a good soldier, you must love the army. To be a good commander, you must be willing to order the death of that thing you love. My God, that'll preach 85 ways to Sunday. To be a good soldier, you must love the army. To be a good commander, you must be willing to order the death of that thing you love. That's beautiful. And so the men of the Civil War era and even the Revolutionary War, but I would say more the American Civil War. I would say that, hey, there's Kenny D Investments. Good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Mike, can you post a link for the video? You and Lambert haven't watched yet. Everyone with the kids and grandkids needs to know what is going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ow. That's my hip. No fun there. And I'm heating up. Kenny, I'm glad you made it in, buddy. Great to see you. We met Kenny D Investments. We met him on the YouTube Shorts when I did a Mike Shriver Uber Ministries episode with Aunt Irene and Uncle Clyde. Clyde the Glide, I like to call him. And so I'm glad you found us in here, Kenny D Investments. I hope you come back more. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. We had a good time tonight, guys. I know I'm sick, but I'm going to go get some ibuprofen here in a few minutes. Let me get the link to that. History. I got to go into my history. I love history too, man. History, I don't understand how people don't like it. How do you get bored reading history? People will read the mushiest romance novels. And when it comes to learning about their nation and its creation and the American Civil War, where we had the Mason-Dixon line and we slaughtered each other wholesale, brother against brother, butchered. In 3 days at Gettysburg, 52,000 Americans killed each other. Thank God for the 16th Michigan, who made all the difference. And I'm in Michigan, so that I am proud of that. But if it wasn't for Jesus, we wouldn't have any of this. Mike, please pull up photos on Rivers Cuomo on your screen so we can see how much you look like him. Oh boy. Okay. One thing at a time. Let me jump into my history and get this for Patty. Not Patty. Well, maybe for Patty as well. Let's go to. So I look like him. Oh, is that bad? Because Cuomo has a bad connotation to his name, doesn't he? Wasn't he like during the pandemic? But I think this is a different guy that you're talking about. Oh, what's this? Trump urged to take over Carg Island. Die on a vine. What in the world does that mean? Oh, there's Lindsey Graham. And then Iran War Live. Tel Aviv skyline engulfed in fire after Iranian hypersonic missile. That must have been from yesterday. But it was actually really cool in a morbid sort of way to watch those missiles hit the ground because they actually speed up like, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards before impact. They just seem like they're coming at a steady speed, and then just before they hit the ground, it's like a booster inside the back of them. Vroom! Like they go to light speed. Okay, so history. All right. Mm, 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 mm. Scrolling. Keep them scrolling. Rawhide. Yeah, we've had a good time today. And maybe tomorrow morning when I wake up, my fever will be gone. It's not bad if I'm taking Tylenol and ibuprofen at the same time. Tylenol helps a little bit by itself. Okay, so yesterday. Okay, finally, Angela, I finally got through the history. I watched a lot of videos. There we go. Down, just a little bit further, I think. I tried to get Freddy Krueger's claw nails sound for when Jessica Tarlov is yapping on the 5, just to play that as a gag. Where in the world did it go? Operation. Okay, so this was. It's got to be here. Oh, wait a minute. Silly me. I didn't use YouTube for that. I got an email from you. Okay, so you guys about ready to? Sorry. Okay. Aha! I found it. Dun, 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 dun. All right, folks. I highly recommend. I started it and I fell right to sleep. I was so worn out. Oh wait, this is Mark Levin. Hold on. This one is the California pastor Jack Hibbs answers Democrats' critics of his prayer to Congress. That's a good one too, though. Hey, should I put that link up too, Angela? What do you think? Give me some advice. Should I put that link up too? Because it is a good one. Might as well, right? It's right here. I encourage you to read this. Our good sister Patty, her pastor is in this, and it is absolutely interesting. And I like Mark Levin. So, okay, paste. There you go. That's the Mark Levin one from Patty, or Angela. I'm sorry. The name Patty, it brings up memories of the one woman that me and my friend Jay used to joke around with, and she'd be walking by, and him and I would stop, look at her, and we'd say, "Hi, Patty," and she'd be way over there because I worked in a car horn factory for 4 years. No wonder I'm deaf in one ear and can't hear out the other. Okay. Oh, dudes, I gotta respond to Jarrett's emails. He started out because his brother died, and he's part of my YouTube channel, and his brother died. And it's like all of a sudden I see Jarrett pops up on the screen. I haven't seen him in months. And he said, "This isn't Jarrett. This is his brother Steven. Jarrett died." I said, "What? No way." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Jarrett died. I just wanted to let you know he appreciated your ministry. He loved your channel, but he passed away." I said, "That's crazy." Should be locked up. May help with copyright issues. You must see this. I asked Grok for help. Great video. President Trump interview. Breaking news. X. Tulsi. It has to be up here before. Because right there is the pastor Jack Hibbs. So be right here. No, that's UPS informed delivery. It's disappeared on me. I don't think I deleted it. Let's go here. Let's go to trash, but I don't think I deleted it. By the way, guys, I'm happy to report that we have broken 2.3 million views. We are averaging. Oh, did you share it? Okay, there, I'm back. Okay, thank you for doing that, Patty. We broke 2.24 million views the other day, and now we have a few more, over 150,000 more to add to that. So by the end of tomorrow, if I do 3 videos, we're going to be so close to 2.5 million views. This channel has exploded with new subscribers, and the views are through the roof. And I want to thank God above all, because that's why we do this. And I want to thank all of you for donating to the channel like you have. It helps me and my daughter. I absolutely would not have been able to fix my car without your donations on the shocks. I appreciate it so much. I probably should drink some water. Patty, have a great night. I'm glad you were able to be here. Hey guys, if anybody wants to email me, here's my email address, okay? And if you guys want to be friends on Facebook, just look me up. It's me wearing my black shirt and a red and black tie. The other one, which I'm going to bring up here in a minute and show y'all because I was supposed to do it earlier. And then I got to go get some ibuprofen and about 12 hours of sleep. I'm tired. The fever can go down, but the exhaustion is there because your body's fighting so much. Good night, Tax Grizzly. It was good to have you with us, and we hope to see you again. Good advice on the water, buddy. Okay. Yeah. I probably won't be back on until tomorrow. Oh, I know what I wanted to do really quick as a joke. I need something to make me laugh, guys. Here we go. Besides watching the Democrats make fools of themselves, they are absolutely fools. And they're a bunch of rebellious, contentious children, is what they are. That's exactly like what they're acting like. Okay, how can I do this? Because this one has. Computer, I have my print, my. Okay, I figured out how to do it. Computer, you're dismissed.
Understood.
So it is Windows S. So S. Hmm, aha. Now should have given me the screenshot. Come on, work. Oh yeah, it did work. Okay, images. Yeah, this is funny because everybody and their mothers was saying, "Dear God, Michael, is that your daughter?" And I said, "No, she's just 12 years younger than I am, and she wanted to date me, so I said, hey, why not?" She's a nice woman. You know, she's a nice woman. All right, images. And so this has kind of been a running gag when I meet new people. Because I'll be like, hey, guess what? You can go find me on Facebook, but you got to be careful because you might send a request to a something that doesn't exist anymore. Check it out, guys. That was me in 2019 with my girlfriend. I think that was 2019. It might have, yeah, it was 2019 because it was just before the pandemic, and then I started dating Melody during the pandemic. I know. Doesn't she look young? And I'm, what is this? We're in 2026. So that was 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was 44. I'm 44 and she's 32. I've always liked younger women. I think that's a guy thing. Now, my pastor married a woman, which I don't blame him because he's a pastor. He married a woman that's almost 10 years older than he is. When they got married, he was like 50 and she was 60. And so now she's like 72 and he's 62. And I just thought that was kind of strange, but he loves her. Um, Yeah. Yeah, do that, brother Ken. Give them all a subscription. They would probably like that. Yep, that was my girl. And that lasted 6 months. Um, she moved in next to me with her mom. And at the time, I'm living with my mom right here in the house because I took care of her the last 5 years of her life. And when she moved over there into one of my mom's rentals, that was a mistake. It didn't go well. And but I mean, I had just broke up with the woman I was with for 7 years, not my ex-wife, because I was cleared to find another wife and get married if I found a good one. And then I just stopped dating. I just stopped. I was done. You can't be in the ministry and bang everything with two legs. I'll just talk to you plainly. You gotta there is a certain amount. You gotta be following God. You gotta be right on his coattail, walking right next to God. And you can't be out there fornicating. Hence, one reason I'm single. I don't want to fall in that temptation. And the Bible says, okay, well, fornication is a sin, but a fault, it says you can confess your faults one to another. Yeah, God does have a plan. But my daughter, my pastor said, Brother Mike, he said, listen, I know you want to be with somebody. You're a man. I totally understand. Okay. But you're going to need a woman that's going to back your ministry. You're going to need a woman that's going to love your kids, although they're pretty much gone. Because Jenna, she'll be gone in the next 2 or 3 years. She's going to graduate next year. Um, and so anyway, that's kind of a running joke for my life. They thought she was like 12 or 16, and I was 44. So yeah, I think younger women like me because I'm short. You know what they call me? Brother Ken, you're never going to guess what I'm called by women. Almost every woman I've ever dated, they call me fun size. He's not short. Mom, he's not short. He's fun size. What does that even mean? So I just laughed it off. I don't get offended very easy. Bible says a man of God's not easily offended. So, okay, everybody, I am out of here. I got to get ibuprofen because I am not feeling good at all. So, thank you for being here. We appreciate all of you. God bless you in Jesus' name. Make sure that they love your grandkids. Exactly. Yeah, my grandkid right now is only, and the other one's getting ready to pop out of the oven in May. I said, hey, Marissa, hold that child in for 2 more weeks, even though you're at 9 months, because you could possibly have your grandchild born on your grandmother's birthday. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you either later tonight, only if there's some kind of emergency in the news. And I want to start doing the Pledge of Allegiance and the Lord's Prayer before we start doing anything when I go live. So, guys, have a good night. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here. You guys have inspired me. And never forget, guys. Never, ever forget. Wait, what? Wait. Oh, yeah, you wanted me to bring up that picture. I had someone tell me I look like Matt Damon, too. I don't think I look like Matt Damon. I mean, he seems to be a nice man and a good actor for sure, but okay, so what's that guy's name? Cuomo, right? Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo. Which one is it, buddy? I gotta hurry up because my kids got my car running. Um, okay, so which one? Let me scroll back up really quick. Okay, Rivers Cuomo. Oh, it's not the same Cuomo's, right? It's that guy is spelled with a Q. Okay, all right, I'm bringing it up right now. Is that a rock band? So I'm a rock star? Maybe I could double for him one day. Go up and sing. All right. Rivers. That reminds me of Joan Rivers. Anybody remember Joan Rivers? Didn't she kick the bucket? Rivers Cuomo. All right. Let's do this. Picks. Rivers Cuomo. I never even heard of Weezer. I know you mentioned it the other day. Get out. No way. Is that me? Oh my goodness. With my glasses on, especially. What? He's such a good looking man. I can see why he gets all the women. Is that him playing a guitar? He's got a little bit longer hair. My hair's getting there. Wow. He's a sharp dude. You can buy a signed Weezer lead singer 8x10 photo, Beckett BAS BU 41074 for $100. Okay, I agree. Let me go ahead and it's not going to do it. Hold on. So we're going to hit, oops, bring that back down. Shift, boom. Yeah, there we go. Okay, guys, this is what I supposedly look like. Okay, let me bring this up. Apparently, I'm a lead singer to a band, or at least related to his brother, perhaps. That is a possibility. Who knows? Maybe we are related somehow, and I just don't realize it yet. Which was going to make me rich, because when he dies, he's going to leave me a fortune. That's okay. He earned his money. It goes to his family, not to me. Okay, so here's the image right here, and then I got to bail. Image. Boom. I tried to do browser. I suppose that would have worked still. All right, guys. Does this look like me or no? Is this my twin? Check it out. Hey, Kosei Makes is in the house. Now, Kosei, they're trying to say that this looks like me. Do you think so? Hey, have a good night, Kenny D. Man, have a good one. Hope to see you again soon. I'll be back tomorrow or maybe later tonight if the world goes crazy. Everyone's day. I'm sick as a dog, but I'm hiding it I can mask. I'm masking it, trust me. You know, when you're live, you get a little bit more, the Lord gives you a little more courage. It's really strange because I did not want to do this. I didn't. I am more comfortable teaching or preaching in front of actual people than I was doing this, at least at the beginning. But I'm so glad that the Lord put me in this direction. Yeah, if I were to shave it off, yeah, I think so. His hairline is beautiful. Look at that forehead. Massive. That means more room for the cerebral cortex, which is your personality and the whole 9 yards. It's this part of your brain makes you who you are. Okay, I got to go, guys. My car's been running for 20 minutes. I appreciate all of you. I will see you soon, maybe sooner than you even think. And never forget that Jesus Christ is our great God and Savior. Appreciate you.